A little girl found hiding, a canine dog sniffing out a hidden truth, and a whispered confession that tore through the silence, exposing a dark secret nobody expected. Her chilling words, "I wasn't supposed to be born," unleashed a chain of events that would rock a courtroom and expose a sinister network reaching far beyond a small town. Before we carry on, please hit the subscribe button to make my day, and let me know where you are watching from in the comments. The biting wind of late autumn whipped through the sprawling, manicured grounds surrounding the Harmony County Courthouse, carrying with it the crisp scent of fallen leaves and the distant, muffled sounds of the bustling town. It was just past dawn, a sliver of weak sunlight struggling to pierce through the overcast sky, casting long skeletal shadows of the bare trees across the dew-kissed lawns. A canine search team, comprised of 2 uniformed officers, Officer Harding and his seasoned German Shepherd, Tracker, were meticulously sweeping the perimeter. A high-profile custody battle was set to begin inside the courthouse, and a credible, albeit vague, threat had necessitated an early morning security check. Tracker, a magnificent animal with intelligent, watchful eyes and a coat the color of burnished copper, moved with a silent, purposeful grace, his powerful nose to the ground, pulling gently on his leash. Officer Harding, a man with a stern but kind face, his movements practiced and efficient, followed closely, his gaze sweeping the quiet grounds. They had already covered the main entrances and the parking lots, their search methodical and thorough. Suddenly, Tracker's ears perked, his head snapping up. A low, soft whine rumbled in his chest, a sound of gentle alarm rather than aggression. He tugged harder on the leash, his body language shifting, indicating a specific interest. His tail, usually held high, dropped slightly, a curious mix of apprehension and discovery in his posture. He began to pull Officer Harding towards a dense thicket of overgrown azaleas and thorny bushes near the courthouse's rarely used back entrance, a secluded spot often overlooked by maintenance crews. "What is it, boy?" Officer Harding murmured, his voice low and soothing, instantly recognizing the subtle shift in Tracker's demeanor. Tracker wasn't indicating explosives or contraband. This was different. It felt sentient. Tracker pushed through the tangled branches, his nose twitching, then stopped, nudging gently at a particularly dense patch. Officer Harding peered through the foliage, his eyes squinting in the dim light. And then he saw her. Curled in a small, almost invisible hollow beneath the intertwined branches, barely discernible amidst the fallen leaves and shadows, was a little girl. She was tiny, perhaps no older than 5 or 6, her small frame bundled in a thin, tattered coat that looked far too large for her. Her knees were drawn up to her chin, her arms wrapped tightly around them, as if trying to shrink herself into oblivion. Her face, partially obscured by a tangled mass of dark, lank hair, was smudged with dirt, and her exposed skin was mottled with cold. Her eyes, wide and fearful, were the color of deep, bruised violets, staring up at them with an expression of profound, raw terror, like a cornered fawn. Officer Harding felt a jolt of alarm, immediately followed by a wave of protective instinct. He knelt slowly, deliberately, his movements gentle, careful not to startle her further. Tracker, surprisingly, remained quiet. His usually alert posture softened, his intelligent eyes fixed on the child. A low, comforting murmur emanating from his throat, a sound of empathy. "Hey there, little one," Officer Harding said, his voice soft, reassuring, utterly devoid of authority, attempting to project calm. "It's all right. We're not going to hurt you. Are you lost? What's her name?" He kept his distance, extending an open, empty palm, a gesture of peace, trying to bridge the chasm of her fear. The girl flinched, her body tensing, her small frame trembling uncontrollably. Whether from cold or terror, it was impossible to tell. Her violet eyes, brimming with unshed tears, darted wildly, scanning the surroundings, as if searching for an escape route, or perhaps, a threat. She was clearly deeply traumatized, her fear palpable, radiating from her like a chill. After a long, agonizing moment of silence, she finally spoke. Her voice was barely a whisper, thin and reedy, almost lost in the rustle of the wind through the bare branches. The words were not an answer to his question. but something far more unsettling, far more chilling. Words that seemed to carry the weight of an unimaginable, hidden sorrow, a dark secret far too heavy for such a small beret. "Child, I wasn't supposed to be born," she whispered, her voice barely audible, the words hanging in the crisp morning air like a fragile, disturbing secret, a haunting declaration that seemed to shake the very foundations of the Ba. Quiet courthouse grounds. Her eyes, filled with an ancient, inexplicable sadness, met his, and Officer Harding felt a cold dread settle in his stomach. What kind of child says something like that? What unspeakable circumstances could lead a little girl to believe such a thing? The implications were vast, terrifying, hinting at a hidden world of unimaginable cruelty and profound injustice. A story far more complex and sinister than a simple lost child. Officer Harding, his heart aching with a mix of alarm and profound empathy, cautiously reached out, offering his hand to the shivering child. Tracker, sensing the shift in the atmosphere, nudged his head gently against the girl's side, a soft, reassuring whine rumbling in his chest. The girl, after a moment of hesitation, her eyes wide and wary, slowly reached out her tiny, cold hand, her fingers trembling as they clasped his. Her grip was surprisingly strong, a desperate clutch that spoke volumes about her hidden fears and her fragile need for comfort. With infinite gentleness, Officer Harding helped her out from the dense thicket, her small body stiff with cold and fear. He immediately wrapped her in his own patrol jacket, the coarse fabric a stark contrast to her flimsy coat, but offering much-needed warmth. She huddled into it, burying her face against the rough wall, shivering uncontrollably, her tiny frame still trembling. "It's okay now, sweetheart," he murmured, his voice a soothing balm. "You're safe with us. We'll get you warm, and then we'll get you something to eat." He gently led her towards his patrol car, parked a short distance away, its interior a sanctuary of warmth and safety compared to the cold, unforgiving outdoors. He made sure she was secure in the back seat, cranking up the heat and offering her a bottle of water he kept for emergencies. She drank greedily, her small throat working, as if parched from a long journey. Meanwhile, Officer Harding radioed in the situation, his voice betraying a hint of urgency he usually reserved for more dangerous encounters. "Dispatch, this is Harding. Found a child. Female. Approximately 5 or 6 years old. Hiding near the courthouse back entrance. She appears to be disoriented and in distress. Requesting medical assessment and child services immediate response. Also, tracker is indicating something specific nearby. Possibly a discarded item." He knew Tracker's instincts were rarely wrong. The dog, despite his gentle demeanor with the girl, had returned to the thicket, his tail wagging subtly, his nose once again pressed to the ground, sniffing intently at a specific spot. He began to scratch at the soft earth, a low, insistent whine emanating from him, clearly indicating something buried or concealed. Officer Harding, leaving the girl safely in the warm patrol car, returned to Tracker's side. The dog was digging with a surprising intensity, dirt flying, his powerful paws working with a singular focus. "Easy, boy," Officer Harding cautioned, pulling on a pair of gloves. He knelt down, using his gloved hands to assist, carefully scraping away the loose earth. Within moments, his fingers brushed against something hard and metallic. He continued to dig, and soon, a dark leather briefcase emerged from the soil, its surface caked with mud, but its solid construction indicating its resilience. It was old, scuffed, and clearly had been buried for some time, judging by the dampness and the layers of compacted earth around it. A wave of unease washed over Officer Harding. Why would a briefcase be buried here, especially with a child nearby? The situation was growing stranger, more complex by the minute. He pulled the briefcase free, careful to disturb it as little as possible. It was surprisingly heavy, suggesting it contained more than just papers. Its latches, though old, were still functional. He carried it carefully back to his patrol car, placing it on the hood. Just then, a sleek, unmarked black sedan pulled up, followed by an ambulance. Detective Anya Sharma, a sharp, intuitive investigator with piercing green eyes and a no-nonsense demeanor, stepped out of the sedan, her gaze immediately sweeping the scene, assessing every detail. She was known for her relentless pursuit of truth and her ability to connect seemingly disparate pieces of information. "Officer Harding," she greeted, her voice calm but questioning. "What have we here?" Dispatch mentioned a child and a canine indication. Her gaze flickered to the girl in the patrol car, then to the muddy briefcase on the hood. Officer Harding quickly briefed her, recounting the girl's chilling whisper. "I wasn't supposed to be born." And Tracker's unusual find. Detective Sharma's eyes narrowed, a flicker of deep concern in their depths. The phrase echoed in her mind, a haunting, disturbing anomaly. "A canine dog found this?" Detective Sharma asked, her attention fixed on the briefcase. "Buried? Here? This is highly unusual." A child. Alone. Saying something like that. And a hidden briefcase. She knelt, inspecting the case closely. "Any identifying marks?" Officer Harding shook his head. "None that I can see through the mud, Detective. It seems well preserved, though." Detective Sharma carefully unlatched the briefcase, her movements precise. Inside, nestled amongst several layers of sealed plastic, were bundles of documents. Her eyes scanned the first few pages, and her breath hitched. Her expression, usually composed, shifted dramatically, a mixture of disbelief and grim realization. "Officer Harding," she said, her voice low, almost a whisper, laden with a dawning horror. "These are sealed court documents, and they appear to be related to adoption proceedings." She pulled out a few more files, her fingers trembling slightly. "And these are marked confidential, military base, and illegal adoptions." Her gaze snapped back to the small girl huddled in the back seat of the patrol car, her words replaying in the detective's mind. "I wasn't supposed to be born." A cold, sickening dread settled over Detective Sharma. The seemingly lost child, the buried briefcase, the chilling whisper, it was all beginning to coalesce into a deeply disturbing picture. A conspiracy far more sinister and widespread than anything they could have initially imagined. This wasn't just a lost child or a random discarded item. It was the unfolding of a dark secret, a truth that promised to shake the very foundations of justice and expose a hidden network of unspeakable crimes. The court, unknowingly, was about to become the stage for a revelation that would reverberate far beyond its walls. The courthouse, usually a bastion of measured solemnity, quickly transformed into a hive of hushed, urgent activity. News of the discovered child and the buried briefcase spread like wildfire among the early morning staff, fueled by the palpable tension radiating from Officer Harding and Detective Sharma. The girl, still silent but now wrapped in a warm blanket and sipping hot chocolate provided by the sympathetic EMTs, was carefully taken to a secure, child-friendly room within the courthouse, awaiting the arrival of TNRI, Child Protective Services. Her eyes, though still wary, held a flicker of something akin to curiosity as she watched the flurry of activity surrounding the mysterious briefcase. Detective Sharma, with Officer Harding and Tracker by her side, immediately took the briefcase to a secure evidence room. The mud was meticulously cleaned, revealing the worn leather and faded brass latches. Inside, the documents, protected by layers of waterproof plastic, were remarkably well preserved. As Detective Sharma began to meticulously examine the files, her initial apprehension morphed into a chilling certainty. The briefcase contained a trove of deeply disturbing information. There were multiple adoption certificates, many with glaring inconsistencies, mismatched dates, forged signatures, and suspiciously rapid processing times that defied standard legal procedures. Alongside these were what appeared to be medical records, detailing births at a specific, unnamed, military base hospital, with critical information redacted or deliberately altered. There were also carefully organized ledgers detailing large, irregular financial transactions, payments made to shell corporations and untraceable offshore accounts. The pattern was unmistakable, painting a grim picture of a systematic, illicit operation. The most disturbing discovery was a series of heavily encrypted files on a small, old-fashioned USB drive, also found within the briefcase. These files were labeled with numerical codes, but one, in particular, caught Detective Sharma's eye. A handwritten note taped to the outside of the drive read, Project Chimera. The very name evoked a chilling sense of unethical experimentation. As she delved deeper, a name began to surface with alarming frequency. Dr. Eris Thorne. He was a renowned geneticist, known for his controversial, cutting-edge research in human gene therapy, often funded by shadowy private investors, and rumored to have ties to various government projects. Dr. Thorne had a formidable reputation, a brilliant but notoriously reclusive figure who guarded his work with obsessive secrecy. The documents indicated his direct involvement in several of these suspect adoptions, linking him financially and logistically to the covert network. The implications were staggering. This wasn't just a handful of isolated, illegal adoptions. It appeared to be a meticulously organized, large-scale operation, possibly involving high-ranking individuals and powerful institutions. The mention of a military base suggested a level of complicity that sent a shiver down Detective Sharma's spine. And the girl's chilling whisper, "I wasn't supposed to be born," now took on a terrifying new meaning, hinting at something far more sinister than a simple abandonment. Was she part of this Project Chimera? Was she a product of unethical research, a life brought into existence for some hidden nefarious purpose? The thought was sickening. She immediately contacted her superior, Captain Reed, a veteran officer with a reputation for integrity and an unyielding commitment to justice. Captain Reed arrived swiftly, his face grim as Detective Sharma laid out her findings, the evidence spread across the sterile table, each document a damning piece of a larger, more horrifying puzzle. "This is big, Anya," Captain Reed said, his voice low, his expression hardening. "Bigger than anything we've seen in this county. Illegal adoptions, a military base connection, a high-profile geneticist. This goes far beyond local jurisdiction. We need to handle this with extreme caution. Discretion is paramount. We don't know how deep this goes, or who else might be involved." They immediately put a security detail on the little girl, ensuring her absolute safety. They ran her fingerprints through national databases, but yielded no immediate matches. It was as if she didn't exist, a ghost in the system, further supporting the chilling implications of her whispered words. Meanwhile, Tracker, restless and agitated, continued to exhibit unusual behavior. He kept sniffing at the buried briefcase, then at the girl's coat, then at Officer Harding's hands, as if trying to convey something more, a deeper connection that eluded human roller. "Understanding," he whined, his nose twitching, then began to pace, his powerful body radiating an unusual intensity, his gaze fixed on the girl's room, as if sensing her distress. The courthouse, typically buzzing with the ordinary rhythm of legal proceedings, felt charged with an electric tension. The scheduled custody battle was postponed indefinitely, its own drama suddenly overshadowed by the looming specter of a far more profound injustice. News of a major BIA investigation was discreetly circulated, but the details remained tightly under wraps. As the day wore on, a psychologist specializing in child trauma arrived to assess the little girl. She was withdrawn, uncommunicative, her eyes still holding that deep, inexplicable sadness. When gently pressed for her name, she simply shook her head, her small lips pressed into a firm whine. "She responds to Star," the psychologist reported to Detective Sharma later that evening, her voice thoughtful. "When I used that name," she looked up, a flicker of recognition. "She's clearly been through significant trauma." Her "I wasn't supposed to be born" comment suggests a deep-seated belief, possibly implanted or overheard. It's truly heartbreaking. Star. The name felt strangely fitting for a child found under such mysterious circumstances, a tiny point of light in a vast, dark unknown. Detective Sharma looked at the encrypted USB drive, the Project Chimera label staring back at her. The court was about to become the stage for a revelation that would shake not just Harmony County, but potentially the entire nation, exposing a horrifying truth born from scientific ambition and a chilling wolves disregard for human life. The hidden truth, unearthed by a faithful canine, was about to explode into the light, demanding justice for Star and for all the others who, like her, weren't supposed to be born. The investigation into the buried briefcase and the cryptic pronouncements of the child, now known as Star, plunged Detective Sharma and her team into a labyrinth of deceit and scientific hubris. The initial shock gave way to a relentless, meticulous pursuit of truth, each discovered piece of evidence painting a darker, more intricate picture. The USB drive, marked Project Chimera, proved to be the linchpin, its encrypted contents holding the key to the entire illicit operation. Captain Reed, recognizing the gravity and sensitivity of the case, assembled a small, highly vetted task force. Officer Harding and Tracker remained integral to the team, their unique connection to the initial discovery and Tracker's uncanny intuition proving invaluable. The first hurdle was cracking the encryption on the USB drive. It was sophisticated, clearly designed by an expert to withstand casual attempts at access. After days of relentless work by the precinct's top cyber forensic specialists, the files finally yielded, revealing a horrifying trove of data. Project Chimera was not, as initially feared, a direct genetic engineering program in the traditional sense, but something arguably more insidious, a large-scale, clandestine human cloning and surrogate program. The documents detailed the creation of human embryos from donated genetic material, their gestation in a network of impoverished surrogate mothers, primarily women from marginalized communities who were coerced or exploited. The resulting infants, born healthy and robust, were then illegally adopted through a black market network, often to high-paying, desperate clients seeking specific genetic traits, or simply a child without the separate. Scrutiny of legal adoption processes. The military base hospital, revealed in the decrypted files, served as a covert birth and early care facility, exploiting its protected status to operate beyond public oversight. The mastermind behind this chilling enterprise was indeed Dr. Eris Thorne. The decrypted files contained his meticulous research notes, his philosophical justifications for his work, and chillingly, his assessments of each product, each human life, as if they were mere experiments. He viewed himself as a scientific pioneer, a visionary pushing the boundaries of human reproduction, unburdened by ethical constraints. He believed he was offering a superior, controlled method of procreation, catering to an exclusive clientele who desired children free from unforeseen genetic predispositions or the perceived flaws of natural conception. The documents also contain the names of some of the surrogate mothers, their pitiful financial transactions detailed alongside their tragic circumstances. And, most damningly, a comprehensive list of the adoptees. A chilling inventory of human lives, each entry a betrayal of natural birth and legal processes. Star's name was among them, listed with a specific genetic marker that aligned with Dr. Thorne's preferred traits for his experimental line, further confirming her terrifying whispered confession. She was indeed not supposed to be born in the natural, ethical sense. She was a manufactured life, a product of a twisted scientific vision. The implications for the children were devastating. They were essentially undocumented, untraceable, their true origins erased, their very identities stolen. The buyers, blinded by their desires, were complicit in a vast criminal enterprise. Detective Sharma and Captain Reed knew they had to move swiftly and discreetly. The potential for a massive cover-up, given the involvement of a military base and possibly influential individuals, was immense. They began to build their case meticulously, gathering undeniable evidence, preparing for a confrontation that would undoubtedly shake the nation. Star, meanwhile, slowly began to emerge from her shell, cautiously responding to the gentle, patient care of a dedicated child psychologist, Dr. Evelyn Chase, who had joined the task force. Dr. Chase employed trauma-informed approaches, creating a safe, nurturing environment. Tracker, in a remarkable display of animal empathy, became her constant companion. He would lie patiently by her side, his warm fur a comforting presence, his soft whines and gentle nudges offering solace when words failed. Star seemed to draw strength from his silent, unwavering loyalty. She would often whisper secrets into his fur, things she couldn't yet articulate to humans, finding a trusted confidant in the intuitive canine. One afternoon, during a play therapy session, Star drew a picture. It was a crude but vivid depiction of a large, imposing building with a distinct, almost menacing, tall spire. Around it were figures in military uniforms. And within the building, a smaller figure, a woman with a kind face, holding a baby. Dr. Chase carefully questioned her about the drawing. Starr's eyes, though still distant, held a fleeting recognition, a spark of something she couldn't quite grasp. "It's where I was," Starr whispered, her small voice trembling. Before I came here, she was nice, the lady. She gave me a cookie." The drawing, though childish, contained precise architectural details of the military base hospital, details that had only been seen in the decrypted files. It was an invaluable piece of evidence, direct testimony from a child who had witnessed her own chilling origins. It also suggested that there might be compassionate individuals within the corrupt system, people who might be willing to come forward, to blow the whistle, once the operation was exposed. The time for action was rapidly approaching. Detective Sharma secured a series of sealed warrants, carefully planning their approach. The initial plan was to apprehend Dr. Thorne, secure the military base hospital, and rescue any children or surrogate mothers still held captive. They knew this would be a delicate and dangerous operation, requiring military cooperation and absolute secrecy. The case was no longer just about a hidden briefcase. It was about exposing a vast human rights violation, a betrayal of ethical science, and delivering justice to the innocent lives caught in its sinister web. The court, once a stage for a simple custody dispute, was about to become the epicenter of a national reckoning, a place where the truth of Project Chimera would finally be laid bare for all to see. The night of the coordinated raids was fraught with tension. Under the cloak of darkness, a specialized team of federal agents, alongside Detective Sharma's task force and a contingent of military police units, descended upon the secluded military base hospital. The element of surprise was paramount, aimed at preventing any destruction of evidence or harm to potential victims. The operation unfolded with quiet precision, each team moving with disciplined efficiency. As anticipated, Dr. Aris Thorne was apprehended in his private lab within the facility, amidst a chilling array of advanced genetic equipment and a meticulous archive of his illicit research. He offered no resistance, his demeanor surprisingly calm, almost detached, as if he believed his work, even if exposed, would ultimately be vindicated by history. He looked at Detective Sharma with an almost arrogant pity, as if she, a mere law enforcement officer, could not possibly comprehend the grand scope of his scientific ambition. Simultaneously, other teams secured various sections of the hospital. What they discovered sent a cold shiver down Detective Sharma's spine. Hidden nurseries contained several infants, some only days old, meticulously catalogued with numerical identifiers. In a separate, secluded wing, several women, clearly disoriented and malnourished, were found, some still recovering from childbirth, others in various stages of advanced pregnancy. They were the surrogate mothers, their faces etched with a profound weariness and silent suffering. The sheer scale and chilling efficiency of the operation were even more horrifying than the decrypted files had suggested. The rescue and care of the infants and mothers became the immediate priority. Medical teams, working alongside social workers and trauma specialists, moved in to provide immediate aid. Each child was carefully documented, their unique genetic markers recorded, their tentative steps towards identity finally beginning. The mothers, many of whom were foreign nationals or from deeply vulnerable communities, were offered medical care, psychological support, and legal assistance, their voices, silenced for so long, finally beginning to be heard. Back at the courthouse, a different kind of battle was brewing. The news of Dr. Thorne's arrest and the discovery of Project Chimera broke like a thunderclap, sending shockwaves across the nation. The media, initially cautious due to the military involvement, now erupted with sensational headlines, dissecting every detail of the horrifying allegations. The public reaction was one of collective outrage, disgust, and a profound sense of betrayal. The ethical implications of human cloning, the exploitation of vulnerable women, and the illicit trade of human lives sparked heated debates in every corner of society. The trial of Dr. Aris Thorne became a media circus, attracting international attention. The courtroom was packed daily with journalists, legal experts, and shocked citizens, eager to witness the unraveling of such a dark conspiracy. The prosecution, led by a formidable and compassionate district attorney, presented a mountain of irrefutable evidence: the decrypted files, the financial ledgers, the testimony of the rescued mothers, who, bravely, chose to come forward, their courage a beacon of hope, and the chilling details of the infants' births. Star, now placed in a loving, temporary foster home and slowly beginning to heal, became a crucial, albeit delicate, part of the prosecution's case. Dr. Evelyn Chase, her psychologist, carefully prepared her to give a statement in a closed session, a testament to the child's slow but steady recovery. Star's drawing of the military base hospital, with its distinctive spire and figures in military uniform, became a key exhibit, her innocent depiction a stark contrast to the heinous nature of the crimes. Officer Harding, stoic and dependable, provided his testimony about finding Star, his voice choked with emotion as he recounted her whispered words. "I wasn't supposed to be born." He also detailed Tracker's role in unearthing the briefcase, highlighting the canine's uncanny intuition, a silent witness to the unfolding horror. Tracker himself made a brief, poignant appearance in court, his calm, dignified presence a powerful symbol of loyalty and truth, standing by Officer Harding's side, a silent counterpoint to the legal complexities. However, the most compelling and utterly heart-wrenching testimony came from a surprise witness, Dr. Anya Sharma. Not the detective who had uncovered the plot, but a different doctor, Anya Sharma. The decrypted files on the USB drive contained detailed genetic profiles of the cloned children, and when cross-referenced with various national databases, a shocking discovery was made. Several of the children were genetically identical to individuals who had been reported missing, or whose biological parents had been declared deceased, often under suspicious circumstances. It became clear that Dr. Thorne wasn't just creating embryos from donated genetic material. He was also, in some cases, cloning individuals from stolen genetic samples, sometimes even from unwitting victims, to fulfill highly specific, and often perverse, demands from his elite clientele. One such client had desired a child genetically identical to their deceased child, believing it would replace their loss. And that deceased child's genetic profile matched one of the infants found at the military base, and chillingly, also matched Detective Anya Sharma's own deceased sister, Anjali, who had tragically died in a suspicious car accident years prior, a case that had never been fully resolved, leaving a lingering question mark in the detective's heart. Detective Sharma, a woman usually composed and rational, broke down on the stand as she revealed the truth. Her sister, Anjali, had died under circumstances that were now under renewed investigation, strongly suggesting foul play, a murder disguised as an accident. And Dr. Thorne had stolen Anjali's genetic material, creating a clone, a child meant to be a perverse replacement for a grieving, wealthy client. The raw emotion, the agonizing personal connection, shook the courtroom to its core. It wasn't just a distant crime, it was a deeply personal violation, hitting home in the most unimaginable way for one of the lead investigators. The courtroom erupted in gasps, the media frenzied, recognizing the seismic shift in the trial. Dr. Eris Thorne, for the first time throughout the entire trial, lost his composure. His arrogant facade crumbled, replaced by a flicker of genuine shock, then rage. He had believed his methods untraceable, his operations impenetrable. The revelation that his own clones could be traced back to their genetic origins, particularly to the family of a detective on the case, was a fatal blow to his carefully constructed illusion of invincibility. The court, witnessing this raw display of personal anguish and scientific horror, was profoundly shaken. The prosecutor, seizing the moment, hammered home the point: Dr. Thorne's actions weren't just illegal, they were a monstrous affront to human dignity, a chilling exploitation of life itself. The ethical and moral implications of Project Chimera reverberated through the nation, sparking a global debate on genetic research, human rights, and the boundaries of scientific ambition. The jury, visibly moved by the overwhelming evidence and Detective Sharma's devastating testimony, returned a swift verdict, guilty on all counts. Dr. Eris Thorne, the brilliant but morally bankrupt geneticist, was convicted of a litany of crimes, including human trafficking, fraud, and multiple counts of conspiracy. The sentencing was harsh, reflecting the gravity of his offenses, ensuring he would spend the rest of his life behind bars, his twisted vision of scientific progress confined to the dark corners of a prison cell. The verdict brought a collective sigh of relief, but the implications of Project Chimera lingered. The long process of identifying and placing the remaining cloned children began, a delicate and complex undertaking that would require years of dedicated effort from social workers, geneticists, and legal professionals. The military base hospital was thoroughly investigated, exposing a network of complicit personnel who were also subsequently prosecuted. The case of Detective Sharma's sister, Anjali, was reopened as a murder investigation, promising long-awaited justice for her family. Star, the little girl whose whispered words had ignited this firestorm, was slowly but surely healing. Her small hand, once clutching Officer Harding's with desperation, now confidently held Tracker's leash as they walked through a sun-dappled park. She was beginning to smile, her violet eyes, once shadowed with fear, now held a glimmer of hope, a reflection of the bright future she was finally, truly, supposed to have. The court had been shaken, but in its reverberations, justice, however painful, had finally emerged from the shadows, ensuring that no child would ever again whisper, "I wasn't supposed to be born," without the world listening. The aftermath of Dr. Thorne's conviction was a whirlwind of activity, both legal and societal. The sheer depravity of Project Chimera ignited a global conversation about bioethics, the dark side of scientific ambition, and the desperate yearning for parenthood that could be exploited for illicit gain. New legislation was immediately proposed, aiming to tighten regulations on genetic research and adoption procedures, ensuring that such a heinous operation could never again occur undetected. For Detective Anya Sharma, the trial's conclusion brought a bittersweet sense of closure. Dr. Thorne's conviction was a victory, a significant stride towards justice. Yet, the revelation about her sister, Anjali, being a victim of his twisted scheme, the chilling realization that her genetic material had been stolen and used to create a clone, left a profound and unhealed wound. The reopening of Anjali's murder case became Anya's personal crusade, a relentless pursuit for the truth that had eluded her for years. She poured her investigative prowess into it, driven by a deep, personal need for justice, determined to uncover every last detail of her sister's untimely demise, believing it was directly linked to Thorne's caution. Insatiable quest for genetic material. Star, now identified by her genetic markers as one of the Chimera children, was undergoing a slow but steady process of healing and integration into a normal life. The media attention surrounding her eventually faded, allowing her the quiet anonymity she desperately needed. Her foster parents, a kind and patient couple who understood her unique trauma, provided a stable, loving environment. Dr. Evelyn Chase, her psychologist, continued to work with her, helping her process the overwhelming truth of her origins, gently guiding her towards self-acceptance and a sense of belonging. Tracker, the loyal canine, remained a constant, comforting presence in her life, visiting her regularly, his silent companionship a powerful balm for her still fragile spirit. He was her guardian, her unspoken confidant, a powerful connection to the moment her life had irrevocably changed. The complex process of identifying and placing the other Chimera children began under the careful supervision of a specialized government task force. Each child represented a profound ethical dilemma, a delicate balance between their genetic origins and their developing identities. Some were reunited with biological families, if such families could be found, and if it was deemed to be in the child's best interest. Others, like Star, found loving adoptive homes, their paths guided by the compassionate legal and social workers who now dedicated their lives to rectifying Thorne's heinous crimes. It was a long, arduous process, each case unique, each child a testament to the resilience of the human spirit. Meanwhile, the investigation into the military base hospital continued, leading to the arrests of several high-ranking officers and medical personnel who had been complicit in Thorne's scheme, either through active participation or deliberate negligence. The scandal rocked the military, leading to sweeping reforms in oversight and accountability, a determined effort to restore public trust. The base itself underwent a complete overhaul, its dark secrets brought into the harsh light of public scrutiny. Years passed. Starr grew into a quiet, thoughtful young woman. The haunting whisper, "I wasn't supposed to be born," no longer defined her. Instead, it became a quiet reminder of her remarkable journey, a testament to her strength and the kindness of those who had fought for her. She pursued a career in animal rescue, her innate empathy and the profound bond she shared with Tracker guiding her path. She often volunteered at the local animal shelter, her calm demeanor and gentle touch a comfort to the most traumatized animals. Officer Harding, now a seasoned veteran, still served with the K-9 unit, though Tracker, now gray around the muzzle, was happily retired, spending his days lounging by the fireplace and enjoying endless belly rubs. Harding often visited Starr, proud of the woman she had become. He saw in her resilience the profound impact of that fateful morning, the ripple effect of a simple act of care. Detective Sharma, having successfully brought her sister's killer to justice, a former colleague of Thorne's who had sought to cover up the theft of Anjali's genetic material, found a new sense of peace. The raw grief had softened into a quiet remembrance, and her pursuit of justice had given way to a dedicated focus on preventing similar crimes. She transitioned into a role as a federal agent, specializing in bioethical crimes, her personal experience lending an unparalleled depth to her work. She and Maria often collaborated, their shared commitment to justice and human dignity forming a formidable alliance against the shadowy corners of scientific exploitation. The Harmony County Courthouse, once the unwitting stage for a national scandal, slowly resumed its normal rhythm, its history forever marked by the extraordinary events that had unfolded within its shadow. But the memory of the little girl, the K-9 dog, and the buried briefcase remained, a potent reminder that truth, however deeply buried, would always find a way to surface, often in the most unexpected and profoundly impactful ways. The world had learned a harsh lesson about the perils of unchecked ambition, but also about the enduring power of compassion, the unwavering pursuit of justice, and the quiet resilience of a child who, against all odds, was indeed meant to be born, to live, and to inspire. The sun dipped below the horizon, painting the Harmony Creek sky in hues of deep orange and purple, a fitting end to a day that mirrored the enduring tranquility Maria had found. Her life, once defined by chaos and uncertainty, was now a testament to the quiet strength of purpose and the lasting impact of profound human connections. Maria's evenings were often spent in quiet reflection, or with her ever-present companion, Tracker, whose gentle snores from his plush bed beside her armchair were a comforting presence. Though his once burnished coat was now almost entirely silver, his eyes still held that same intelligent, knowing gaze that had first drawn her attention decades ago. He was a silent sentinel of her past, a living reminder of the moment her life had pivoted towards an unimaginable future. The Harmony Creek Medical Clinic, now a sprawling, state-of-the-art facility, continued to flourish under the guidance of the dedicated professionals Maria had mentored. Its reputation for compassionate, community-centric care was renowned, drawing interns and residents from across the country who sought to learn from its unique model. Maria would occasionally give a guest lecture, her voice, though softer with age, still carrying the weight of decades of experience and an unwavering passion for healing. She would share not just medical knowledge, but the profound human lessons she had learned about resilience, about the power of a caring touch, and the importance of truly seeing each patient not just as a case, but as a person with a story. Her relationship with Joe and Sarah Randall remained the bedrock of her personal life. They navigated the gentle currents of old age together, sharing memories, laughter, and the quiet comfort of long-standing intimacy. Joe, with his steady hand and calming presence, continued to be her confidant, their bond fortified by the shared experience of Harmony Creek's rebirth. Sarah, ever the pragmatic optimist, filled their lives with warmth and practical wisdom, Their children and grandchildren, now active members of the Harmony Creek community, treated Maria as their own, weaving her deeper into the fabric of their family. One particularly warm autumn night, as a harvest moon cast a silvery glow over the landscape, Maria sat on her porch swing, gazing at the familiar outline of the courthouse in the distance. It no longer held the looming shadow of past trauma, but stood as a symbol of justice served, a reminder that truth, however deeply buried, would eventually come to light. She thought of the young woman she had once been, adrift and homeless after the storm, clinging to the last vestiges of her professional identity. She recalled the startling moment when 5 fire trucks, symbols of emergency and crisis, had instead brought an unexpected convoy of hope and human kindness. That single, pivotal morning had not only rebuilt her home, but had reshaped her entire perception of what it meant to be truly alive, truly connected. Her life had become a living testament to the powerful truth that even in the face of profound loss and unimaginable despair, human compassion can emerge as the most potent force for healing and transformation. She had found a purpose far greater than she could have ever conceived, a legacy built not on grand achievements alone, but on countless small acts of caring, on the unwavering belief in the inherent good of people, and on the enduring spirit of a community that had given her everything when she had nothing. Maria Leal, the nurse who once slept in her car, had indeed found her true home, her true family, and her enduring purpose in the heart of Harmony Creek. The scent of night-blooming jasmine now drifted on the gentle breeze, a familiar fragrance that had come to symbolize the peace Maria found in Harmony Creek. She closed her eyes for a moment, letting the sounds of the night, the rustle of leaves, the distant hoot of an owl, wash over her. Every sense was alive to the profound tranquility of her life. Maria's reputation, forged in the crucible of disaster and built brick by compassionate brick, had transcended the professional sphere. She was often invited to speak at local schools, sharing her story with wide-eyed children, instilling in them the values of empathy, courage, and community service. She would tell them about the dark days, the despair, and then the sudden flash of red, the arrival of the fire trucks, and the profound lesson that even when it feels like the world has collapsed, kindness can rebuild it. These talks were not about self-aggrandizement. They were about sowing seeds of hope and resilience in the next generation, preparing them to face their own storms with courage and compassion. Her home, once a symbol of loss, was now a vibrant hub of warmth and hospitality. Grandchildren of the initial volunteers, now teenagers, often stopped by, seeking her wisdom, sharing their dreams, or simply enjoying a glass of iced tea on the porch. Maria had become a matriarchal figure, not just to the clinic, but to the entire town. Her presence was a comforting constant, a reminder of Harmony Creek's enduring spirit. The occasional visits from reporters, eager to capture her enduring story, no longer felt intrusive. Maria would graciously share her experiences, always emphasizing the collective effort, the spirit of the town, and the boundless generosity that had transformed her life. She saw herself not as a solitary hero, but as a vessel for a greater truth, that humanity's capacity for good often shines brightest in its darkest hours. One clear, star-filled night, Maria found herself gazing up at the vast expanse of the cosmos, feeling a profound connection to something larger than herself. She thought of the countless lives she had touched, the systems she had helped build, the communities she had helped heal. It was a life beyond anything she could have ever envisioned during those desperate hours after the tornado. She remembered the feeling of the cramped car, the biting cold, the overwhelming sense of loneliness and loss. And then, the abrupt, glorious arrival of the fire trucks, a symphony of hope, led by Joe Randall, whose simple act of gratitude had set her on an entirely new trajectory. It was a beautiful, improbable turn of events, a testament to the fact that sometimes losing everything can lead to finding your true purpose. A gentle smile touched her lips. Her journey was a testament to the unseen threads that connect us all, the profound impact of empathy, and the extraordinary power of a community that truly cares. Harmony Creek was not just a place on a map. It was a living, breathing testament to the human spirit's ability to rise from the ashes, to rebuild, and to find enduring peace and purpose, all thanks to an act of kindness sparked by a nurse who simply did her job. The gentle hum of crickets now filled the evening air, a lullaby to the peaceful rhythm of Harmony Creek. Maria, her hair now a distinguished silver, leaned back in the porch swing, a sense of profound contentment settling deep within her. The young medical student had departed, leaving behind a quiet reverence, a testament to the enduring power of Maria's story. Maria's evenings were often spent in quiet reflection, or with her ever-present companion, Tracker, whose gentle snores from his plush bed beside her armchair were a comforting presence. Though his once burnished coat was now almost entirely silver, his eyes still held that same intelligent, knowing gaze that had first drawn her attention decades ago. He was a silent sentinel of her past, a living reminder of the moment her life had pivoted towards an unimaginable future. The Harmony Creek Medical Clinic, now a sprawling, state-of-the-art facility, continued to flourish under the guidance of the dedicated professionals Maria had mentored. Its reputation for compassionate, community-centric care was renowned, drawing interns and residents from across the country who sought to learn from its unique model. Maria would occasionally give a guest lecture, her voice, though softer with age, still carrying the weight of decades of experience and an unwavering passion for healing. She would share not just medical knowledge, but the profound human lessons she had learned about resilience, about the power of a caring touch, and the importance of truly seeing each patient not just as a case, but as a person with a story. Her relationship with Joe and Sarah Randall remained the bedrock of her personal life. They navigated the gentle currents of old age together, sharing memories, laughter, and the quiet comfort of long-standing intimacy. Joe, with his steady hand and calming presence, continued to be her confidant, their bond fortified by the shared experience of Harmony Creek's rebirth. Sarah, ever the pragmatic optimist, filled their lives with warmth and practical wisdom. Their children and grandchildren, now active members of the Harmony Creek community, treated Maria as their own, weaving her deeper into the fabric of their family. One particularly warm autumn night, as a harvest moon cast a silvery glow over the landscape, Maria sat on her porch swing, gazing at the familiar outline of the courthouse in the distance. It no longer held the looming shadow of past trauma, but stood as a symbol of justice served, a reminder that truth, however deeply buried, would eventually come to light. She thought of the young woman she had once been, adrift and homeless after the storm, clinging to the last vestiges of her professional identity. She recalled the startling moment when 5 fire trucks, symbols of emergency and crisis, had instead brought an unexpected convoy of hope and human kindness. That single, pivotal morning had not only rebuilt her home, but had reshaped her entire perception of what it meant to be truly alive, truly connected. Her life had been a testament to the unexpected blessings that can emerge from the ashes of disaster. She had found a purpose far greater than she could have ever conceived, a legacy built not on grand achievements alone, but on countless small acts of caring, on the unwavering belief in the inherent good of people, and on the enduring spirit of a community that had given her everything when she had nothing. Maria Leal, the nurse who once slept in her car, had indeed found her true home, her true family, and her enduring purpose in the heart of Harmony Creek. The soft glow of a bedside lamp cast a warm circle around Maria, illuminating the worn pages of an old photo album. Each photograph was a portal to a cherished memory, a testament to a life lived fully and purposefully in Harmony Creek. She paused on a picture of the fully rebuilt Harmony Creek Medical Clinic, its grand opening ribbon being cut by a younger, beaming Maria, with Joe and Sarah Randall standing proudly beside her. Another showed Star, a vibrant teenager, gently leading a retired tracker on a walk through a sun-dappled meadow, both figures radiating peace. These were the moments, the faces, that had woven themselves into the fabric of her very being, creating a tapestry of profound connection and meaning. As the years advanced, Maria found herself less inclined to chase the national spotlight, though it continued to seek her out. She politely declined most invitations for keynote speeches and high-profile committees, preferring the quiet, impactful work within her beloved community. Her focus shifted to mentorship, nurturing the next generation of healthcare professionals who pass through the Harmony Creek Clinic. She established a scholarship fund for aspiring nurses from rural backgrounds, ensuring that talent and dedication, not financial hardship, determined who could pursue their calling. Her wisdom was sought by many, from young doctors grappling with complex ethical dilemmas to local politicians seeking advice on community development. Maria became a living archive of Harmony Creek's journey, a testament to its enduring spirit. She taught them not just medical procedures, but the art of listening, the power of a compassionate touch, and the importance of seeing beyond a patient's symptoms to the human story beneath. Evenings often found her on her porch, the scent of jasmine a constant companion, listening to the comforting rhythm of Harmony Creek winding down. Joe and Sarah, now frail but still spirited, would occasionally join her, or she would visit them, their conversations growing softer, more reflective, filled with the unspoken understanding that comes from a lifetime of shared experiences. Their bond was a quiet, unwavering flame, burning brightly against the encroaching shadows of time. One clear, crisp night, as a meteor shower arced across the vast, inky canvas of the sky, Maria sat alone, lost in thought. She remembered the sheer terror of that night, curled in her car, convinced she had nothing left. She recalled the guttural rumble of the approaching fire trucks, the unexpected cavalry of kindness led by a man whose family she had unknowingly saved. That moment, etched in her soul, remained the genesis of her remarkable second act. It was a profound lesson in reciprocity, in the inherent human need to uplift and support one another in times of crisis. Her life had become a beautiful, unfolding narrative of purpose, found in the most unexpected of places. She had not only rebuilt her own shattered existence, but had played an instrumental role in knitting a broken community back together, thread by resilient thread. Her legacy wasn't just in the clinic's walls, or the policies she helped shape. It was in the quiet dignity of every patient she had comforted, the hopeful spark in every student she had guided, and the unbreakable spirit of Harmony Creek itself. Maria Leal, the nurse who once slept in her car, became a testament to the idea that true strength lies not in avoiding the storm, but in finding the courage to rebuild amidst its ruins, guided by the unwavering light of compassion. Her story, woven into the very fabric of Harmony Creek, would forever echo the profound truth that sometimes, when you lose everything, you gain the world, and in doing so, inspire countless others to find their own path to healing and hope.